Hi, this is the Unconventional Woman speaking. This will be my final blog presented at the symposium about artists' identities at Birkbeck, University of London, and posted this evening along with the final 3 dates of a 50-date experiment. Now that the experiment is over, I want to take a few minutes to speak more in depth about some of the motivations and thinking behind this project. So, let's begin the story at the beginning. I was finishing my MFA at Goldsmiths. It was August, and I had to vacate my studio at the end of the month. Because I was not from the EU, there were severe restrictions on my employability, compounded by my expertise in the fine arts. And I would be forced to leave my home of 2.5 years in January if I failed to get full-time employment. Because of the huge cost of tuition and living, I was on a very short leash with my family, who expected me to get employed as soon as possible and stop being a parasite. Maybe the normal thing to do would be to go home, but if I did that, I could expect to lose all the social capital I had earned in London, which was supposed to be working towards my career. While I was at school, I had been making objects and installations. My motivation was to create spaces which freed people from the stressful world of constant commodification. I just wanted people to experience space and connect to sensual experiences. But at this point, my objects went into a storage locker that cost hundreds of pounds. Because they occupied time and space, which also cost money, the objects had trouble connecting with anybody. I knew my strategy had to change. So while I was at Goldsmiths making objects, I had also been doing some research about dating, which had to do with my interests. Like, why is everything so commodified until we can't think of anything and except like how much things cost and what passport you have. Like, we don't even have time to think of anything else. And it prevents people from having empathy and connecting with other people. All the social structures become extremely patriarchal, superficial. And I had met this guy in my research. He was trying to create a dating app to make dating less superficial. And he seemed like he had good intentions. He just didn't really know how to talk about it, or he wasn't, or maybe there was no point in talking about it on that level. I wasn't sure. But then I took a chance and I asked him, oh, could I, work with you? And he said, well, yeah, that's a good idea. And what about if you write about it? What about if you write a dating blog? Like, let's think about this. And he had the idea of this video logging series of dates, 50 dates. And it took me a while to think about it. And I realized this was like an art piece. Well, first, I knew that I was constantly performing my gender identity, or playing with gender scripts, or trying different versions of myself in front of other people as an attempt to connect and also belong to a social structure. Also, as I presented these experiences online, it was like a different kind of performance. So as I started to think of this project as a performance, I started to realize that my game of survival in the city as an artist in these political contexts, that was enough artwork, that was enough content, and content really worth spreading, really worth talking about. And using these digital infrastructures to communicate this content made so much more sense than sinking all my money into objects that were, fenced in the studio, or now in storage. Now nobody gets to see them. So I started getting really fascinated with this idea. So this is what I wanted to do with the project. Make people think and talk about real life, as well as create something that's beautiful and authentic and emotional and connects to people. So that was my motivation behind the project, but I had some questions that I was trying to tease apart and explore while I was doing it. So, for example, for me, this project is a performance. For Love Flutter, this is a content marketing project. I am the content that creates their marketing or makes their slogan, "Say No to Shallow," exist for real. um, and what kind of ethical, am I selling? Am I playing to the whole system that I hate? And what am I selling? Well, there are a couple things I thought about this. Artists always use branding. They're always branding themselves. The most successful artists brand themselves and sell themselves. And what am I selling here? I'm selling myself, and I'm selling an idea, a belief, a culture, that I would like to create. I want a better dating culture. I want healthier heteronormative structures. Or I want to expose why the current structures aren't really working out for me, probably for other people too. The other question I was really exploring with this project was, doesn't this media of, what we create on the internet or social media, isn't it reductive? I mean, that's what it's about. It reduces everything, in your personal life. It reduces the world to very superficial, shallow media, 140 characters. And that's how they, sell stuff. Everything's become superficial, and we don't have like a deep experience of things, and we are brainwashed and we buy things instead of thinking about, things. Um, and I don't know. I really contested that with with the project, because I tried to put as much real content and thought into it as possible. But at a certain point, I was shaped by the medium itself, by the context of the project, my collaboration with Love Flutter, trying to collaborate with, their expertise and needs, and then also trying to do 50 dates. It's just a huge amount. So something has to be reduced, abbreviated. I can say there's really some good content in the project, but not all of it as of an equal level. And where it's most effective, maybe it's as a research tool, and then I can, edit my archive of relationships and experiences and see what I get out of that.